Welcome back to Real Shift, where we like to talk real shit all day, every day, all for the love of movies. I am Joe. Before I get into it today, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Any little bit of feedback or support would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, I'm going to get right into it because today was a huge day for DC, for DC fans. DC Fandome, the online event, happened today, and we have an abundance of announcements and news and trailers and everything under the sun. And as a Batman fan, as a DC fan, I can't be happier right now. I mean, what a time to be a DC fan, to be quite honest. We've had a rough patch where we had to go through a lot of BS and a lot of uncertainty, but it really starting to feel like this universe, this multiverse is what it is now, is finally going to be put on the right track, and we're going to get what we deserve the whole time. And I'm going to try to do as many videos about all the events that happened today as possible, but this one in particular, of course, I had to do, and that was the Snyder Cut trailer was officially released or shown for the first time. So we got a full look at what exactly we have in store for us with the Snyder Cut of the Justice League, something that we've all fought for a very long time. And obviously we're all very excited for it. I know I am. There's some people, there's naysayers out there who are still trying to ruin that fun, of course, but we don't pay attention to those people because they really don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. So as far as this trailer goes, I have to say it gave me goosebumps, to be quite honest. Not just for what I was seeing, but just the fact that we're at this point where we've gotten to this point where this is partially because of us asking for it. So it gives me goosebumps. It really gives me some level of emotion that I'm not even prepared to show you right now, but it just makes me feel a certain type of way that we were a part of this, like we helped make this happen. And that in itself, just the fact that we're at this point right now, is an achievement. And yeah, it's something to be proud of for sure. And now moving on to the actual trailer, it starts off obviously with the song Hallelujah. The song Hallelujah plays throughout it, and I think that's just such a Zack Snyder thing. Like, you can tell this is a Zack Snyder movie just from that song alone. I mean, that's something that he would definitely put in a trailer. I mean, I think it was actually in Watchmen, if I'm not mistaken. So right away, it feels like a Zack Snyder thing. It feels like his movie again, just from that song choice. So I think that was really cool. This is where we get our first look at Darkseid. Right at the beginning of the trailer, he's like swinging this axe or something along those lines. And there's been already people who are kind of criticizing the way he looks or whatever. And I will say this. I remember back when the Justice League movie was first announced, like back when they were originally making it, I remember Zack Snyder and there being news specifically of Darkseid being a younger version of Darkseid. Like, he hasn't exactly become that person yet that takes over, and that obviously Steppenwolf is probably in charge still. So this might be a younger version of Darkseid. I'm not really certain if the image that they show is present or if it's like a flash forward type situation, like another nightmare sequence like we got in BVS, because you see a lot of devastation. You see the city destroyed behind him, and you see ships up above him. So this could be a younger version of Darkseid. I will keep that in mind. Maybe he's not in his final form yet, the form that we know him as. But I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked great the way he was. So I really don't understand how there'd be any issues with that and the way he looked. There's some devastation, of course, and you see all that. And that makes me kind of think that it's another nightmare sequence. But we'll have to wait and see. So we see also in the devastation, the Hall of Justice looks like that it could have been destroyed, and that's what another reason why makes me feel like it's in the future, is because the Hall of Justice wouldn't technically have been created yet by the time of the events of this movie. So that just leads me to believe that it could be a future sequence, and it was kind of their way for building for Justice League Part 2, which was a thing at some point. I don't know if it still is, but probably not, but it's very possible that is a future sequence. So then we get some shots that were in the Whedon cut. There are shots in this movie that were clearly in the Whedon cut, but they're a little bit different. The coloring's changed a little bit. Specifically, the end battle sequence. If you remember, there was like this reddish orange tint to it in the Whedon cut. Well, it's been changed back to that more moody blue that was throughout the Snyder Cut movies, or the Snyderverse movies, I should say. So they're clearly trying to have that connective tissue throughout the three movies between Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League, which I think is very important because it keeps it consistent, and it looks like Zack Snyder's trilogy again. So I think that's really cool. And I'm fine with them keeping the scenes as long as they were part of his original plan. And it just shows me that he did create stuff that they did ultimately end up using in the Whedon cut. They just altered it. So now we'll get to see it in its actual form, and I think that's really cool too. So we get to see images of the football game that we never see in the Whedon cut, and that's obviously giving us the idea that we're going to get a little bit more out of the character of Cyborg. We're going to see more of him. And that makes me happy because, to be quite honest, from the Whedon cut, I think Cyborg was one of the characters that surprised me the most, to be quite honest, because I actually gave a shit about Cyborg in that movie, surprisingly, even though they didn't give us much. But I actually liked him in that movie, and it'd be nice to get a little bit more of that character, because I'm not really a big Cyborg guy. Like, I'm not a fan of his, really. So it'd be kind of nice to get a little bit more about his character and get a little backstory, and I think that's what we're going to get for sure. And there are scenes also of him essentially watching his father die, it looks like. At least his father's doing experiments with the mother boxes, so it's very possible that he experiences some kind of tragedy like most of these heroes need to, and that's what kind of spawns on the whole change into becoming a hero. So I think that's really cool too, that we're going to get to see more of him. We finally get shots of Superman in the black suit. It looks like he's either entering or exiting a ship. Not really sure which, but I will say this, he looks great. It's kind of a silhouette, but you can kind of see the suit as well. There's parts of it that are lit up. I will say this, I know, but I understand we're probably going to get a better resurrection of Superman in this movie, because the one in the Whedon cut was obviously very rushed, very forced. It didn't really have any kind of emotional impact like it should have, and I really feel like we're going to get that in this, because we do get a lot of emotional scenes in the trailer. We see Lois and Martha obviously interacting with each other, being upset. And then we see later on, when Superman ultimately comes back, we assume, all three of them embracing. So I think that return for Superman, like the death and return of Superman, is going to have a more emotional impact in the Snyder cut, obviously, than it did in the Whedon cut. And it should, to be quite honest, because when he sacrifices himself essentially at the end of Justice League, like, that is the moment that puts all this in motion. Like, that's basically the dinner bell ringing for Darkseid to come, or Steppenwolf. That's basically Batman's epiphany to get the Justice League together, to bring everyone together because of greater threats that could be coming. So, like, his death causes so much, so for them to kind of brush that under the rug in the Whedon cut and just kind of act like it's not that big of a deal, and just bring him back in the most rushed and kind of hokey way possible, was really kind of disheartening, to be quite honest. So I think they're really going to handle it much better based on what we see here in the Snyder Cut trailer. We get more shots of Darkseid in front of the fallen city with ships overhead. I will say the visuals in this, obviously, Zack Snyder is the top of his game as far as visuals go. Like, I really think you could put him up against anybody visually as far as creating shots. Everything this man does is just beautiful to me, and he's so underrated for that aspect. Like, he really doesn't get enough credit for the shots that he creates, and you see a lot of those shots in this trailer too. Then we have the united 6 members of the Justice League, basically all standing together, and Black Suit Superman is with them, so they're all standing together, and there's like this ship approaching with the back end opening up. It looks like they're either being transported somewhere, or someone is arriving to confront them. Not really sure which, but it is a very cool shot to see them all united, kind of standing one after the other, right next to each other, and just ready to do battle, ready to defend the Earth. And it's just another beautiful shot created by Zack Snyder. It ends kind of with this little meeting, I guess, and it's Barry basically questioning whether or not they have a chance against this incoming threat, whether it be Steppenwolf or Darkseid, because they do show Steppenwolf in the trailer too, so I have a feeling he's obviously still a part of the movie. Again, I think he's the leader at first and Darkseid eventually takes over, but basically it's Barry, and he's questioning whether or not they're equipped enough to handle this. And Batman, being the badass that he is, and of course, yes, it's Ben Affleck, he responds in the only way Batman should. And this was another thing that was completely missed in the Whedon cut. This was something that was underutilized, and that was the use of Ben Affleck and Batman. Like, Batman is not Batman in the Whedon cut. Like, he's turned into kind of a joke, to be quite honest, in the Whedon cut, in my personal opinion. He's got a new suit, which is just there to sell toys. Like, that's how it feels. So in this one moment in this trailer, he feels more like Batman than he did in that entire movie. And he basically tells Barry, like, he may have been confronted by a lot of people and destroyed a lot of people and defeated a lot of people, but he's never went against us, not when we're united. And that's how the trailer ends. And you get 2021, and obviously Goosebumps, and of course it'll be released on HBO Max. It should be noted also that during DC Fandome today, that it was announced that it will be broken up into 1 hour episodes, basically. So you'll get 4 1-hour episodes, and then they'll release it all together later on. I guess in another fashion. So we're going to get basically a mini series to start out, and then you'll have the whole movie all edited into one big 4-hour epic, I guess, later on down the road. So I think that's kind of cool, to be honest. I think it's cool to break it up. I think the anticipation from 1 week to another, I don't know if they're going to release it weekly or monthly or whatever. I hope it's weekly, because monthly would just be too much. But to have like a Justice League month where you get a new segment of the movie each week, I think that would be really cool, and it would just build an even more anticipation than we already have. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing. And then you can just have the full version later on that you can go back and rewatch, which I'm sure we'll all do. As far as this whole trailer is concerned, like, this was, obviously it gives me goosebumps. Obviously I'm super excited for this. I cannot believe it's even happening still, to be quite honest. I encourage everyone to ignore all the naysayers out there, because they're still out there. They're still trying to bring this movie down as much as they can. And I just ignore those people, because those people just aren't, I guess they just can't have fun in life. I don't know, or they can't let other people have fun in life. I don't really know what their main issue is. But the fact of the matter is this: Zack Snyder and his movies have had this, whatever you want to call it, they've had people rallying against them for whatever reason. From the very start, there have been a segment of people who have been against Zack Snyder's DC movies. I don't understand why. It makes no sense to me, but there's a movement against these movies. But the movement for these movies is so much stronger, and just the fact that we got this trailer, just the fact that this is being released in 2021 shows me that, and shows me that there is a even larger group of people who want to see Zack Snyder's vision complete. And if this trailer is any indication, I think we're going to be in for one hell of a ride, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. This is going to be, 2021 might be the year that resurrects, well, my interest in comic book movies has already been resurrected. There's no secret on this channel, I've kind of soured on them for a while now, because it's just too many. But I really feel like DC is knocking it out of the park right now as far as the direction they're taking it in with the multiverse and all that. Like, I think that is the best case scenario and best possible thing they could have done. They're listening to the fans. They're giving us what we want. And what we want is the Snyder Cut, and we're going to get it now. So let me know what you guys think about the Snyder Cut, the first official trailer. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to discuss it in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.